Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Canadian Football Central, CFL content for the fans, by the fans. And it's been a couple of weeks since our last video. 2 big update videos. If you hadn't, covering free agency, if you hadn't watched that, make sure you do that, covering both the East and West respectfully. But a bit has happened since then, and Rick has brought it to my attention. We now have some of the figures out for some of the contracts that were signed through that. And we're going to try to generally, every 1 to 2 weeks, getting a video out, kind of keeping you in the loop,
updated,
as we approach the season. So, Rick, do we want to get right into the contract stuff, or do we want to cover some of the other stuff around the league first and then do that afterwards? What are you thinking?
I guess we can start with the West because we have 4
Just all
out
West
of 5
news,
of the
or?
West. No, because we don't have Winnipeg. So we have 4 out of 5 of the West teams.
Oh, yeah, no, but I'm saying it's not just the free agency numbers that is new. Like, that's not the only news that we've got. Like, because, today,
we can
Dakota Prukop is now the quarterback's coach in Calgary.
Yeah, we can start with the West and work our way.
You know what I will say is funny, Rick? Dakota Prukop is teaching Vernon Adams Jr. how to play quarterback. Like, I do find that a little fun. And I like Dakota Prukop. I do. I was not expecting him to go into a coaching role so soon. So we'll see how that goes, though.
It's no different than Christian Matty, who was an offensive line coach for Montreal, is now the running backs coach. Like, who would have thought, like, you would have, like, a 300-pound offensive lineman teaching running backs?
Yeah, actually, it's funny you say that. It's just because even, like, in my high school, our running backs coach was like, he was a bigger guy, which I wouldn't be surprised if, back in his day years ago, he'd played liner. I don't know. I had no idea because he was quite a bit older. But I understand it, at least from a blocking perspective. If you got a guy being a lead blocker, if you're doing a passing play and those running backs are going to need to kind of serve as that second line of, that last line of defense before your quarterback. I kind of get that, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Again, the offensive line knows a lot about the running plays with the running backs in terms of having to open up those holes to allow those running backs to, do what they can do best. So, maybe that'll work out well. But we will have to see. What's his name? Do you remember what his name is or no?
For which?
They're now their running backs coach in Montreal.
Oh yeah, Christian Matty. Matte. Matti or Matte. Matte.
Okay, so do we actually let's go back to that West East then. If we're talking contract figures, do we want to start with the Lions?
Sure, but the funny thing is, to go back to I guess we'll save that for Calgary.
Yeah, we'll get to Calgary and then we'll do that. So, with BC, kind of one of the big additions would be probably the addition of Micah Alway to the lineup. BC Lions defense kind of needed a little bit of support in that sense, so they get that. But then the obvious change up front, obviously, Nathan Rourke is fully take the reins. Vernon Adams Jr. is gone. Jeremiah Mazzoli is in. And then James Butler is going to be there at the running back position. I think this will work a little bit better, having James Butler there, than it did with Stanback, in the sense of that Rourke has kind of showed that sometimes he wants to dish that ball to his running back kind of as like an extra receiver. And Stanback never really went well with that role.
Yeah, just give me a second, because for some reason
I'm looking here. Actually, it looks like the one you sent me, it doesn't have the figures.
Yeah, that's what I just noticed that now. So
it just has literally their numbers.
Yeah, just give me 1 second. I'm just going through all of the.
Let's see here. We'll now be rocking.
No.
War 51 and 58, but now we'll opt for a slimming single digit. Is he going to be? Is he number 3? I think he's going to number. Oh, this is literally. This is literally just talking.
Yeah, I'll be able to.
It's funny. You saw the numbers and you thought it meant contracts.
No, because I was looking at because all of the articles all have the same bloody title.
Yeah. No,
it's just
it's funny. This is probably interesting for our viewers who are just watching us do almost this research while we're recording. Just trying to
Calgary.
Get all that,
so we got that
down.
One.
Now I searched.
I know what I can do.
What the BC Lions paid for their 2025 free agent signings. This was. Okay. Do you want me to send you this?
Sure.
Okay. I think I found it right here. I just searched up BC Lions contracts on 3 Down Nation.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I have it now.
Okay. Yep. There you go. So you see here
from 3 down, right?
From 3 down. Yep.
Okay. Doing this on the fly.
Let's see here. Details.
Mazzoli's so Jeremiah Mazzoli's getting 100,000.
Roughly 120,000.
Well, minimum 100,000, max to 120,000.
Yeah. The actual hard money component is no. Wait a minute. Hold on. So it says that he's making around roughly 120,000. However, there is not more than 100,000 guaranteed. So depending on
that extra 20,000 is all the playing time incentives.
Yes. So that just kind of depends on the way that they use their quarterbacks in that regard. They get David Foucault, 36-year-old Canadian offensive lineman. Let's see. Where
94,000 hard money.
Well, he began his CFL career with 94,000 plus another 20,000 in playtime incentives, half of which would be paid out following his first snap, up to 6,000 in award and all-star bonuses. So he may potentially, however, 2024. So they're kind of unsure because of their first-round pick, George Unna, if he will get more time, so that's kind of unknown. The trade right for Dijon Allard added to his $210,000 in hard money into the books, $25,000 of which was paid out February 1st, and another $75,000 which is guaranteed, alongside Rourke's restructured deal, which Rourke's restructured deal, $624,200.
So the thing is, with that restructured deal, $424,200 is his actual contract. $200,000 of that is marketing money. Of that 620.
How much is the media bonuses to not talk to the media?
I mean,
how much is the media? That's where it's like, well, they got rid of all the media bonuses because he wasn't talking to the media.
It kills me that between Rourke, McInnes, and Matthew Betts, that's $1 million just between 3 players.
Yeah, no, because McInnes is making $250,000. Which was probably, that was kind of expected after last year. Matthew Betts, $260,000. Kind of hope he gets back to where he was before, because where he was before was worth $260,000. But last year he kind of was good, but not that good. Not $260,000 good. Among these moves was release of all-star receiver Alexander Hollins, who joined the team. 30-year-old was released.
Hollins still isn't signed yet.
Worth $150,000, including $55,000.
Yeah, that's bonuses. Hatcher's new deal.
Yeah, Keon Hatcher, $150,000, $55,000 signing bonus, $5,000 marketing money, and an extra $10,000 for playing his first game, and can earn $2,500 for each for surpassing 50 receptions or 1,000 yards, as well as the standard $6,000 in available.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine that though? Just sign on this dotted line. We'll give you $55,000.
Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Joining the team earlier in the offseason to provide receiver depth was local product Braden Linas, who he had played in Saskatchewan, who will earn $83,800 in hard money. To back up McInnes and Javon Catoy, former rider, also received $5,000 for his first game and can earn up to $12,500 in incremental yardage incentives, plus $6,000 in award and all-star bonuses. Then Rice and John is also in a similar boat, $84,000 in hard money, is not accompanied by any playtime or performative incentives beyond the standard award boosters. And let's see here. A finer major change was the return of running back James Butler, who was swapped out for William Stanback. He'll earn $103,800 in hard money, including a $10,000 signing bonus and $10,000 in marketing money, plus $5,000 after the first game and $5,000 for reaching 1,000 yards. While that undoubtedly makes him the team's lead ball carrier entering camp, it won't make him untouchable to the crowded stable of backs the Lions have brought in. Yeah, but he's kind of the obvious one, I will say.
I mean, if you look at that offensive depth chart right there, their receivers really don't scream. Like, I mean, they have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say they don't scream. So, let's see here. They have McInnes. They have Hatcher.
Sure. And they have Eberhardt.
Which, we are very happy to have him on the show. But then also last year was kind of a year for him in the CFL in terms of kind of getting that foot in the door.
But I mean, Catoy never had very many yards last year. Linneas didn't play.
To be fair, Catoy struggled with injuries. So that's another thing to keep in mind.
But what I'm saying is you don't have the Hollands. You don't have, those 4 or 5 key receivers that BC had last year.
I'm going to be honest. If you're BC, though, I think you're going to try to get a little bit more out of the running game than you did last year.
I mean, don't forget, Butler's a dual threat runner. And
yes, and that's where I think this made sense, in the sense of Stanback kind of wasn't a dual threat, in the sense of that Stanback, he could, kind of swing out, get it, and then go. But a problem was that he just didn't have as good of hands. And the amount of times where he would either not catch it, or he'd catch it, but it would kind of go off his hands a little bit before he got a grip on that. It just seemed like he was uncomfortable in the role. So it made sense that they moved away from that.
Hey, Carter, do you see what I see?
What?
Bryce is not the backup quarterback now that they have Mazzoli.
You mean the BC savior that we saw in Saskatchewan? Adam Auclair was priciest, receiving $20,000 signing bonus as a part of $131,500 hard money. Also has $12,500 worth of playtimes incentives, plus standard amounts for awards and all-star selections. Local kid Adam Konar.
Did you skip Dwayne Hendricks?
I think I thought I briefly mentioned him. Did I not? Maybe I didn't. $154,000 for Dwayne Hendricks. Good for him.
After we released him.
Yeah. Including a $40,000 signing bonus. Damn. Can make $4,500 if he records 9 sacks plus $6,000 in award and all-star incentives. So, I will say, I've always found the idea of the CFL all-star nominations kind of funny, in the sense of there's no all-star game or anything. But
so here's the thing. So Hamilton was paying him $200,000 for this upcoming season. He didn't have the greatest season, so then we release him, and then he goes and gets $46,000 less in BC for what we were paying him this upcoming season.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna continue. And this is gonna be very, very off topic. So my apologies to our CFL viewers who have no interest in this. Rick, in the WWE, Io Sky as women's champion, she just beat Rhea Ripley on Raw. I'm sorry, Rick. I had to mention it there. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. For any of our anyone who's a WWE fan.
Yeah, but you know
maybe
what
see the
though?
confusion there, but I had to mention.
If you think about it, what's her name's just gonna win in a month's time, anyways.
This is probably true. But anyways, back to football.
Going back to the video, I see our local guest, Micah Awe, has a new team.
Right after I got a jersey of a Calgary Micah Awe jersey. But that was huge.
104,000.
I'm shocked it's that low. Like in the sense of that, I like Adam Mockler. I like Dwayne Hendricks. But I thought Awe was the big fish there. But I mean, hey, if you're able to get him at 104,000, by all means, that go. There you go.
2,500 if he makes 60 tackles or more.
I think he could do that. And then let's see here. And then it looks like for the most part, that's kind of. They have Deontay Williams, who received a $30,000 signing bonus as part of $118,000 hard money, $6,000 in playtime incentives, and then
looks
like
who wrote this. So JC Abbott doesn't even have Covington starting.
Yeah, and then interesting here is that they have Carl Meyer going in as their punter, as they're going to be going with him instead of Stephen Flintloff. So no one is no more punting the jumbotron.
That is because Flintoff left as a free agent.
So no more punting the jumbotron.
I mean, it's still possible to punt the jumbotron.
Oh, I know, but every time it happened last season, it was him. It's like it almost seemed intentional. Well, do you want to cover Calgary next, and then afterwards we'll
sure.
I think that's pretty much all we got for BC.
So, like Carter had mentioned earlier, they did name Dakota Prukop as the new quarterbacks coach in Calgary. Let's see here. So Dominic Rhymes is making a hard 165,000.
I was about to say 165,000 initially sounds like kind of like, oh, he could have gotten a little more. Hard money though is it like he got good terms on that. Following
but don't forget that also includes 27,000 just for signing his name on the dotted line.
Yep.
10,000 in marketing money and also $6,000 in incentives.
Yeah, no. So it looks like Dominic Rhymes' deal is less focused on having the big flashy numbers and more of just getting that money locked down and not a lot of wiggle room with it. Which I mean, for a player, makes sense.
I'm gonna say this, and I do apologize for those people who take it the wrong way. Mm-hmm. But apparently, Damian Webb, his 150 wasn't enough to cover Demarion Houston getting released for what he got released for.
Yeah, Damon Webb, $30,000 signing bonus.
He's getting 150,000.
Yeah,
he's going to be the lone defensive end.
Because obviously Demarion Houston, as we've covered
Calgary.
In prior videos, we're not going to go like crazy in depth, but for those wondering, he was arrested for domestic violence down in the.
And he claims that he's innocent until proven guilty.
What else would he do? Like what is he going to go out there and be like? Yep, that's it. Like no, like that. So, of course he did.
So Damian Webb is supposed to be starting at the boundary halfback position.
Yeah, no, but so big role for Damon Webb, big opportunity as well, in the sense of if he's able to succeed at that position without Demarion Houston there. We're talking next year. Now you got some real negotiating power, as you've done a bit more proving. Miles Brown makes $132,500 in hard money after heading west from Ryderville to Cowtown. The 27-year-old native of Cheverly, Michigan, has a $25,000 signing bonus and $5,000 in marketing money, with an additional $12,300 in incentives written into his contract. Also, this should be obvious, but in case we have any American friends that are watching, this is all in Canadian dollars, correct? Like this, like the CFL. I'm pretty sure they deal all. I think all CFL contracts are in CAD. Like, it feels like it'd be. It feels like it'd be silly to do US. Yeah, it operates in Canadian currency fully. Just the reason why I'm mentioning this is not like an international league like the National Hockey League where everything is in American dollars. Even if you're in Canada,
Canadian funds.
It's all Canadian funds. So, again, for any American players who are living south of the border, there's the exchange rate on that, which actually right now is not very good, but that's worth noting. Again, that's assuming they go back down to the States. But Tevin Jones collected a $15,000 signing bonus to join the Stampeders in a contract worth $130,000 in hard money, including $5,000 in marketing money. Former NFL receiver will earn an additional $2,500 if he dresses up for at least 10 regular season games, plus upwards of $16,000 in other playtime and awards incentives.
So just think of it, Carter. Last year he was with Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
He had 40 receptions out of 51 targets for 731 yards and 5 touchdowns, and he gets $130,000.
Yeah. Then Canadian linebacker Fraser Sopik, $128,000, 17.5 signing bonus, $5,000 in marketing money. And let's see, can also earn an additional $18,000 in playtime and awards incentives. So big playtime and incentives for Fraser Sopik. Adrian Green, $10,000 signing bonus, $7,500 marketing money for a contract worth $125,000.
I'm pretty sure he came over from BC, if I'm not mistaken.
$11,400 in playtime incentives, including $300 each time he plays more than half of Calgary's defensive snaps in a game. Huh.
I will say though, this
strange little tidbit in that contract, but I'm glad we're hearing all this, just because like it kind of sucks that that the CFL doesn't have their own like cap friendly, or at least it used to be cap friendly, now Puckpedia.
Puckpedia.
But it kind of sucks that there isn't something like that for the CFL, but at least we're able to get this type of information from 3 Down Nation as
well, at least this next person, we don't have to deal with him in the East anymore.
Antwi?
Mr. Strubkick himself. Mr. Antwi.
It's not like they're never playing you. They will. You guys are playing him like what, second game of the year?
First game.
Oh.
Yes, it's the same first 2 games of the season like we had last year.
It's the master of the onside punt, Joshua Antwi, with a $10,000 signing bonus of $5,000 as part of a contract worth $105,000. Can make an extra $6,000 in playtime incentives, plus $500 times $500 each time he plays more than half of the team's offensive snaps. If I was Antwi, I'd say plus $500 every time I successfully perform the onside kick. That's what I would. If I was him, that's what I'd do. I'd be like, anytime that's onside kick, I do it and it's successful, $500, like right then. Like if that would be a smart move. Seriously, it's such a hilarious.
And then don't forget Gary Johnson Jr., who came over from Ottawa. Derek Moncrief, who I thought would have made more money than what he did, but apparently he didn't.
And
then Godfrey
Onyeka will make.
Yeah,
will all make
between $85,000 to $90,000
in hard money.
Yes.
And then let's see.
So let's keep in mind. So while we're looking at the offensive depth chart, don't forget Malik Henry did not play last year, so that's kind of like a free agent signing.
Now the only thing with Calgary is that they do not have a punter right now. They have everything else.
Those are a dime a dozen that you can get through the global draft. Like, let's be realistic here.
Yes. You need to get
mind you,
or you can just sign Domagala.
Or Haggerty.
Yes.
From Toronto. Because he's still not signed. Interesting fact.
Mm-hmm.
Anything happens to Vernon Adams,
okay,
you go with the UFL, XFL veteran himself, PJ Walker.
Oh, yes.
As the backup. I don't even think Walker has CFL experience.
So at that point, you roll the dice on that and see how that goes. As when we've seen Americans come up to the CFL that have succeeded in other leagues, we've seen them either really swim quite well or completely sink. And we've seen it go both ways, even from the NFL. So I think that kind of ties up what we got for Calgary.
The only question that I'm going to leave before we move on to the other thing is because Jake Mayer put up decent numbers as quarterback, can Vernon Adams really make that much of a difference with this team this year, or are they going to sink again?
I have to imagine with the run game as well that he offers, with that flexibility, that dual threat. I have to imagine he does more. I'm not saying that he's necessarily the be all end all. Calgary's going to be amazing and they're never going to have problems again. But it has to move the needle, at least in some way. Whether it's enough to make playoffs, not sure. Depends on the defense, depends on the team as a whole. But we will have to see. Which brings us to the Edmonton Elks. So they were probably one of the busiest teams in free agency.
As highway robbery team.
As how much did you mention that they spent this free agency? How many $1 million?
$2.2 million.
Whew. Which for CFL, that is a lot. Robbie Smith is now the league's highest paid defensive player, as he will be making.
Before you continue, do not forget either the second or third day, or maybe the day of the deadline, they did increase the salary cap by $400,000.
This is true. But
so, just throwing that out there.
Robbie Smith now makes $270,000 in hard money, $90,000 signing bonus, $20,000 in marketing money, and an additional $6,000 if he reaches All-Star and awards incentives. If you are a professional player that is out there playing in the CFL or in the UFL or in the NFL or wherever league it is, whoever Robbie Smith's agent is, you might want to hire this guy. As I like Robbie Smith, but that is a lot of money. And so if I were damn.
Just to give a little bit of a backstory. So he's played from 19 to 24 with the Toronto Argonauts. He went 4 sacks, 1 sack, 3 sacks, and then back-to-back years with 6 sacks. And then he's gone 15 defensive tackles, 24, 22, 34, 31. So in 72 games, he has 126 defensive tackles, 30 special teams, and 20 sacks in 4 years.
Yeah.
But they have made Robbie Smith the highest paid defender in all of CFL.
Which is certainly a statement, considering that they also, if we go to our next signing, Terrell Ford, as he makes $230,000 in hard money this year, $70,000 signing bonus, $20,000 in marketing money, and The contract is worth a maximum of $236,000, so an extra $6,000 if he reaches his all-star and playtime incentives. He only made last year $165,000.
No, so they're saying that the highest paid DB in 2024
oh, they're saying that
$165,000.
Yes, so he eclipses that by a mile. And so they have Robbie Smith, Terrell Ford, and then another defensive juggernaut, Jake Ceresna, for $235,000 after just blowing the doors off the defense in Toronto. Like, he was just fantastic.
But it gets better. So you're saying you'd rather have Robbie Smith's agent? I'd rather have Jake Ceresna's agent because look at that killer signing bonus.
Well, here's the thing. He turned down a larger offer from the Argos. So, you know what I want to know? I want to know what that offer was. What did the Argos say they were going to pay him? Because he took a pay cut to go to Edmonton, which is a bold take after winning the Grey Cup.
So, I'm pretty sure... You know what? Is he even... I want to see if he's even Canadian. But I mean, even to get a big fat $125,000 check. No, he's an American. Okay, so I mean, I guess he wanted to go back to Edmonton because he was there for 4 years. Maybe that's where his wife is.
Yeah. But let's see, David Beard.
Yeah, our big number one center.
Yeah.
$197,000.
With the Ticats for 3 years, goes to Edmonton. $30,000 signing bonus, $20,000 marketing money. Royce Mechie, $145,000, all of which is hard money. 3-time Grey Cup champion, collected $30,000 signing bonus, and will also earn $15,000 in marketing money and $8,000 as a travel allowance. Interesting. Brandon Barlow, this was a later deal. $6,500 signing bonus. Deal is worth $160,000 hard money, plus $15,000 in incentives, including $5,000 if he reaches 10 sacks and another $5,000 if he reaches 12. Nose tackle Jared Brinkman is also going to Edmonton because, again, Edmonton just defensively stacked up. And so I think the Elks defense is going to be terrifying this year. $160,000, $45,000 in signing bonus, and then $10,000 in marketing money, $7,000 in possible incentives, and bringing the final deal to $167,000.
So if you add Smith, Ceresna, Barlow, and Brinkman, who's going to be their starting four,
and you now have Jonathan Kongbo as a backup.
That's $825,000 that you're spending on your front four.
But here's the thing: that front four should be absolutely lethal. That should be the best defensive line in the league, no question.
Should be is a key word.
Yes,
but it doesn't necessarily mean that it will be.
This is true. I would be shocked if there were anything less than second best. But then there's still a lot of pieces in there. You still got Nick Anderson, rookie of the year last year. Still got Ragumba. You got Terrell Ford in the corner, along with Gray, Williams, Jackson, and then Mechie going in at safety.
Okay,
like there's just so many ways that this defense can just suffocate.
From last year. I will mention this from last year.
Mm-hmm.
So you had. And this is my point.
Mm-hmm.
So you had Brinkman, you had Ceresna, and you had Robbie Smith from Toronto. That's three of their four startings.
This is true.
Then you had McManus.
Yeah.
You had Fraser Sopik and Quentin Mauger. I'm trying to think. You had Amos as one of their secondary. You had McFadden, and then I forget who the other 3 secondaries are. Don't forget, Toronto had a bunch of these players, and they still had to score over 30 points to win 10 of their 18 games last year. So you got to remember, just because on paper Edmonton's defense should be you still got to be able to outscore the other team's offense.
That's true. Now, with that, so they get Julian Grant, $153,000, $10 and $100 in hard money, with a maximum value of $176,000. And so that includes their marketing money, and then $800 bonus each time he plays a game. So that would be.
But the funny thing is that $800 to play each game, it doesn't say how many game, like how much snaps. So you could just go there for one snap, be like, "Hey, I want my $800."
I want my $800. And then defensive back Kobe Williams, $15K signing bonus, $120,000 hard money, and then $5K marketing money. Ragamba, $15K signing bonus. Strong side. He'll to play strong side linebacker at 26 years old. Spent 4 seasons BC. He's going to make $104,700 hard money, including $3,000 in marketing money, and then plus an additional $435 for each regular season game he plays. Why the fuck is it that specific of a number? That is such a weird number. Why is it for, like, do you think they, like, it was at $400 and then, like, they're about to sign the deal? He's like, add 35, bitch. Add $35 to cut. Add $35 or I'm not signing this goddamn deal.
You know what they did? It was $434.99, and they rounded it up a penny.
What do you mean rounded up a penny? We don't have pennies up in Canada. We don't even have a penny anymore. They just rounded it up.
Exactly, so it would round up to the nearest nickel.
God, that's so stupid. Gregor McKellar will make $103,600 plus $800 each time he plays more than half of Edmonton's offensive snaps in a game. I would love to know who's keeping track of this. You know what I mean? Like, who's just watching the game, being like, "Is he gonna make his bonus? Is he gonna make his bonus? Is he gonna make his bonus?"
And just if you think about it, okay, so he was the first round pick out of 22. So you have 22, 23, 24. Mm-hmm. So he just came out of a $75,000 contract as a rookie, and now he gets a $40,000 pay increase.
Yeah. Then they have global punter Cody Grace, American receiver Stephen Dunbar Jr., Canadian receiver Tyson Middlemost, Canadian receiver Odoms Dukes, and defensive lineman Jonathan Congwell will all make less than $100,000 in hard money. Surprises me a little bit for Stephen Dunbar that he's not making at least $100,000.
Yeah, but you know what though? When I go back and look at it, his only good season, or I should say seasons, was with Hamilton.
Here, let me take a look at his deal.
For some reason, they don't have before 2023, and I know for a fact he's...
I mean, you say his only good seasons have been with Hamilton, but I mean, he's only had 2 years. He had one in Edmonton, then one in Hamilton. Now he's back in Edmonton.
No, he was with Hamilton from 20 to 22.
See, I thought he was too, but then why is the CFL.ca not have that in there? They don't have any of his receiving or rushing records in there. Because I was about to say, I'm looking at this and I'm like, this doesn't feel right. I thought he was in the league longer. And he was. That's true, but I don't know why it doesn't have his receiving rushing yards for that. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, no.
This is what it is.
So
now they
in his first year.
Yeah.
So 2020, the 2020 season was canceled due to COVID.
Yeah.
21, he only had 630 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Then he went to Edmonton first in 23, where he only had 536 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And then he went to the UFL, played for the Houston Roughnecks, was released on April 25th of 2024, had that big season with us last year, and then he got released. So he's only really had one big season.
Yeah. No, that's true. But I think that pretty much covers everything we're doing for Edmonton, because we still got our 6 teams to cover.
Did you want to just quickly look at the depth chart?
I actually was looking at the depth chart.
Oh,
kind of while we were going through that.
Okay.
Which, I mean,
so there is no Boris Beatty, people. Boris Beatty is now gone. Now they have Vincent Blanchard as their kicker, so that will be interesting.
Yep. And then Grace as their punter. And then again, we already talked about it last video, so I'm not going to go too crazy into it. Their 1-2 punch with Trey Ford and Cody Fajardo.
Yeah, that was going to be the last thing that I mentioned is how much of a leeway do you give Trey Ford before Cody Fajardo goes in there?
I don't know.
I say 4 games.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But that then brings us to Saskatchewan. Let's see. As Brain Trust from 3 Down Nation ranked them as the number 1 team in the league after free agency. So 3 Down Nation has high hopes for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Clearly.
So let's take a look here. Trevor Harris re-signs, and Jake Mayer joins as a backup. That's a great backup. Like, Mayer wasn't the perfect fit as a starter. It didn't fully make it made sense to give it a try with kind of Bo Levi Mitchell leaving, but didn't fully work out. So it made sense for the Stampeders to pivot. Now Jake Mayer joins the Riders. He's going to earn $165,000 in hard money and $59,000 in playtime incentives, and $15,000 in statistical bonuses, and $6,000 in All-Star and award incentives.
So before we get on to the next one, here's a joke. So with how horrible, and I say horrible, Calgary played last year, not only do they bring Jake Mayer over, but they also bring over Tommy Stevens too.
Yeah, and he's going to be he makes $93,000 hard money and an additional. So keep in mind when we're saying additional here, additional to the hard money, $27,000 in playtime, plus $6,000 in All-Star and award incentives, and also he will earn $200 for each rushing touchdown he scores. So basically, Stevens, if you score a touchdown, you can gift your friend a jersey. Look at that. And so that's basically that. You know what you could do? After he scores each touchdown, he could take his jersey off and give it to a fan and then just go get a new jersey. And then that's like that.
I mean, realistically, could that $200 get your groceries for the week?
We will see, Rick. We are in a trade war. Three-time All-CFL center Sean McEwen signed a 1-year contract worth $143,000 in hard money with $6,000 in All-Star award incentives available to anchor the offensive line. So getting some good money up there. But then also Canadian offensive lineman Philip Gagnon, which I just butchered that name, gets $92K in hard money, $9,000 in playtime, plus $5,000 in All-Star and award incentives. So, let's see. McEwen is as smart as they come in the center, and steps into the role vacated by Peter Godber as Godber goes to Ottawa. So, I'm curious to see how he does there at the center position, the offensive line. Canadian receiver Tommy Neal signed a 1-year contract worth $91,700 hard money with $5,400 in playtime plus $6,000 in All-Star and award incentives. He also can earn $100 for each special teams tackle he records. Ooh. Neal provides Canadian depth with upside as a pass catcher while being a key special teams contributor. So, yeah, Tommy Neal, if he gets a tackle on special teams, he's basically able to buy a couple loaves of bread. Ooh. You know, I, by the way, I'm just making a joke of how expensive shit is now.
Well, as of, we'll say in half an hour at midnight.
But then...
So Mike it's Rose, funny because Mike Rose, there was a bidding war between Hamilton and Saskatchewan for Mike Rose's service.
Oh, yeah.
And he ended up going out west.
So $175,000 in hard money, $5,000 All-Star and award incentives. And he's, former. And then Shane Ray, who's a former first-round NFL pick, signs for $125,000 in hard money plus $5,000 in All-Star and award incentives. Rose slots in at 3 technique to replace Anthony Lanier II and Miles Brown, while Ray takes over the field spot and end spot from Brian Cox Jr. Tavon Campbell signs 1-year deal worth $153,200 in hard money, $5,400 in playtime bonus, plus $5,000 in All-Star and award incentives. So
the funny thing about the Campbell signing is if you go into Madden, he's in 80 overall corner.
Oh yeah. Well, not too bad actually. And now, so then that will allow us, I'm just going to close this. I'm going to look at the depth chart you sent me. Which was all from John Hodge on 3 Down Nation. So any of the depth charts we're talking about, you can find there. There isn't one for every team, but there is for sure depth charts on 3 Down Nation for Saskatchewan, BC, Edmonton, Toronto, and Winnipeg. I know that for sure.
Yeah, the Winnipeg one, there isn't an article out for their free agent signing yet.
Yeah, and I think Bombers Paradise.
I found one on there anyways.
Posted it a few days ago. But with this, it looks like it's still going to be a relatively strong offensive line for Saskatchewan. They still got Logan Furland, who had done really, really well last year. I can't remember if he won the Offensive Lineman of the Year or if he was the runner-up. It was one of the two.
No, it was Furland and
what's his name from Toronto?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember his name. Here, let me look at the Toronto one. It was him and Ryan Hunter.
Yes.
Did Hunter win that or did Furland?
No, Hunter won it.
Yeah, but he was still a runner-up, so he was still very good. You got Sean McEwen, who he should do really, really well at center. Brammer and Tate were decent. Jamarcus Hardrick, all-star offensive tackle. Main thing is just keeping him healthy. So if they're able to keep Hardrick healthy, that should do well. That should be very, very good for him. But then the question that also comes up with Saskatchewan here is they have A.J. Ouellette and Raquel Armstead. Really, really great situation for your running backs. Now, the only thing is that that offensive line did not mesh very, very well with A.J. Ouellette for a while. Not until nearly the end of the season, as they were just so used to having a speed back and not a power back. And so hopefully for Saskatchewan, I say hopefully for their sake, not as a Bomber fan, like I have any hopes for the Riders. But that adjustment does not take all season long to happen, and A.J. Ouellette is able to be more of a threat from the start.
Also, don't forget A.J. Ouellette was playing injured last season too.
Also, I just want to make it known, I see that A.J. Allen is put here as the backup at linebacker position, and I'm personally offended by this take. As a big fan of the A.J. Allen himself. And so I'm making that known.
So here's the thing that I have is 3 Down Nation and all those media people can write whatever they want about Saskatchewan being first? Did they not go through like a 7-game losing streak last season?
What'd you say? Sorry?
No, I'm saying of how at the top of the article it says that they have Saskatchewan as the top team in the West with their power rankings. And I said, was it not Saskatchewan who had the 7-game losing streak? Or something like 4-game losing streak, 5
Yeah,
games.
They had a massive losing streak. Now, again, Shea Patterson had to play a decent amount of those games, but also Shea Patterson played relatively well for a lot of those games, and it wasn't exactly him. So, if you're Saskatchewan, you just hope that you don't go on a slump like that for a while, and that's all you can. Now, with that, I think, is there anything else you got for Saskatchewan, or
not really?
Because now, we're not going to be able to fully cover Winnipeg's as I don't believe Winnipeg has released theirs, right?
They have their depth chart, just not the article.
Yeah. But if I'm looking here, I'm just going to search up.
You know who you'd be good at searching? It would be...
Yeah, I'm just searching 3 Down Nation just to confirm that. Just because, I mean, if it is available, obviously we want to.
Let's see. I would. Okay, that's Toronto, Edmonton. Oh, I take it back.
Ooh,
I take it back.
Give
me a second. I'm sending you the link.
I think I found it. Yep, I found it.
Okay.
You're talking the one that says what the Winnipeg Blue Bombers' top free agents got paid and how they fit into the roster is from February 19th, right?
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Is that the one?
Did one? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So no, I'm glad we looked because then we got to talk about this. This video is definitely turned into just talking about CFL contracts, but that's fine. You know, we'll have a lot to talk about. We'll be here over.
I mean, we gotta fill the off season with something.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, we're gonna have this might get 2 hours. We'll see. We're doing the whole league in this one, by the way, Rick. We're not doing an East and West here.
I mean, but the other 3 East teams haven't announced any numbers yet. So how?
Well, we'll take a look just in case we missed something originally. So, as again, we thought that even Winnipeg didn't have them out, but it does. So biggest addition financially for the Bombers was James Vaughters, who received $45,000 signing bonus and a deal worth $160,000 hard money. 31-year-old native of Chicago, Illinois, made a little over $170,000 with the Stampeders last year, where he recorded 32 defensive tackles, 5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles over 18 regular season games. General Manager Kyle Walters made it clear that the Bombers were looking for more production opposite Willie Jefferson. This is absolutely a smart thing to look for, as that was one of the key things missing. It was like, why was Willie Jefferson not able to be more successful last year? And it's because they were always used to that 1-2 punch with Jackson Jeffcoat, the jersey I'm wearing currently, and Willie Jefferson. If Willie Jefferson if it's just Willie Jefferson as a threat, it's easy to just have that second have that either the halfback or that fullback go in there and help your offensive tackle, and now you got 2 guys covering Willie Jefferson, and he's not as effective when he's got 2 guys on him. So having kind of that 1-2 punch, the bookends, if you will, with Willie Jefferson and now Vaughters is going to be good. And he's hoping that he can refine his form from 2023 when he made 5 sacks and 2 forced fumbles over only 6 games before he suffered a season-ending arm injury. Dylan Mitchell was Winnipeg's second highest free agent, $148,000. So Dylan Mitchell, for those who remember last year, the Bombers preseason, he was a bit of a standout performer, but it was just one of those things where there was not the spot for Dylan Mitchell yet. Well, that spot is there now. With Ontario Wilson and some of the other receivers leaving, Dylan Mitchell gets his chance. $63,300 signing bonus, again, $148K total. He had who took the CFL by storm as a rookie with the Edmonton Elks in 2022 before 2 middling seasons in 2023-2024. Or no, I was confusing him with Myron Mitchell. Sorry, my apologies.
I was just gonna say
I was confusing him with Myron Mitchell. No, he had done well with the Elks. My apologies. Dylan Mitchell also has an 8K signing bonus if he receives 2,000, gets 2,000 receiving yards. Only 3 CFL players have ever reached that figure in a single season, so you have to admire the optimism. I love the way that that's written. Also known as, I love that you got that in your contract. I mean, dude. You're not fucking making it, but I love that you got the enthusiasm.
I mean, if he gets 2,000 yards, he's probably gonna make 300,000.
I was about to say, if you make the $2,000, who gives a shit about the 8K bonus you'll make then? Well, like your next contract, you're gonna be making bank. So
more than Kenny Lawler.
So Jonathan Jones, comes over from. I believe Toronto, right? 15K signing bonus for a deal worth $120,500, which is significantly more than veteran Kyrie Wilson is set to make. As such, it seems fair to speculate Jones is penciled in as a starter as the weak side linebacker, spot he manned off and on over 3 seasons with the Toronto Argonauts. I saw someone said that he was related to Tony Jones, but I have not heard any actual confirmation on that. I feel like if he was related, they would have mentioned it here, considering they mentioned the Trey Ford, Terrell Ford one. So I don't know if that's true. I just figured it was worth mentioning because I've heard someone say that. Explosive playmaker Peyton Logan gets a 10K signing bonus to come over to Winnipeg with a deal worth $107,500 in hard money. This is, first of all, that's a great deal for Peyton Logan. One of the best returners, and should also play a significant role in Jason Hogan's new offense as a change of pace running back behind Brady Oliveira and a receiver in the slot. Now Peyton Logan was definitely, if we want to talk about some of the, for Winnipeg at least, some of the biggest changes that they've had from last year to this year, getting Peyton Logan was very, very important, as ever since... to be honest, ever since Janarian Grant left, the returning spot just has not been the same as it was before, as it was such a lethal threat with, firstly, when Lucky Whitehead was in his prime and he was young in Winnipeg, and he was just fantastic at that point before he went to BC and made a fuck ton of money. And Janarian Grant then comes in as a bit of a younger guy, fills that role, and then thrives in that role in the next year before now he's making all that money over in Toronto. So getting someone to come back in there and be a damn good returner and put the Bombers in good field position to prevent Zach Collaros from having to go the entire length of the field every single time is a big change. So I really, really like this Peyton Logan contract. Now, there's a few things that do confuse me. I was not expecting this Shea Patterson deal. $88,000 hard money and serve as a depth role at quarterback plus playtime incentives. He went 2-4-1 as a starter for Saskatchewan last season. He was kind of there during that kind of big slide. I think the reason the Bombers take a splash on him is because of that big slide. Shea Patterson's not going to make a ton of money, even though a lot of that slide isn't exactly his fault. He threw for 1,655 yards, 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and earning the team's only win over the Bombers last year. That was not Labor Day or the Banjo Bowl. It was the game prior to that. But that's just, Winnipeg has a billion quarterbacks. Not exactly sure why they've been splashing so much there, but they have decided to. Winnipeg's 2 other receiver signings, Reggie White Jr. and Jareth Stearns, will both make between $85,000 and $90K in hard money. These are bargain rate contract. Yeah, seriously, that's actually nothing. That are looking to reignite their CFL careers. So I think this is kind of like the Bombers made it very clear they didn't want to splash a ton of cash in free agency. So I'm kind of like $90,000 for Stearns and Reggie White Jr. just seemed shocking to me. Like, is that a little surprising to you, Rick?
I mean,
like 85, 90,000, like not even cracking 100.
I mean, if you think about it, Reggie White is just coming back from injuries.
Yeah, but I mean, even Dalton Schoen's making like an extra 100,000 over that. I'm not saying he should as well, but I'm just surprised he doesn't crack the 100K mark. So, big potential.
You have to remember, these guys are like probably going to be your third, fourth.
That's true.
Because you got to remember, so there's Schoen and Dembski, Mitchell. So there's your 3. Yeah. And then White and Stern's going to be your 4 and 5.
Yeah. And then
you still have Clarcius.
Yep.
And Wheatfall too.
I actually quite like Wheatfall last year. I'd be okay seeing more Wheatfall. Bombers then made 4 Canadian depth signings with receiver Gavin Cobb, which I believe was in Edmonton. Gavin Cobb. Yeah. Defensive lineman Brock Gummonlock. Defensive backs Josh Haggerty and Enlock Maconzo will all make between $80,000 and $85,000 hard money plus incentives. None of the additions, 2 of whom actually played for the U of M Bisons, are expected to be day 1 starters, but all 4 could be on the active roster come the first week of the regular season. So basically kind of earn your spot, not necessarily guaranteed. Based on the recent signings, it's clear that the Bombers didn't... wait, hold on a second. There's speculation that Winnipeg, likely the CFL's most profitable team, could stuff contracts with marketing money to massage the salary cap. Due to a loophole in the collective bargaining agreement, teams are able to pay players an essentially unlimited amount of cash and marketing money, none of which counts against the salary cap. Based on the recent signings, it's clear the Bombers did not do this. Jones has $8,000 of marketing money in his deal, Logan $7,500, and Lauders has $5,000, none of which are particularly significant sums. The king of CFL marketing money is easily still the BC Lions quarterback Nathan Rourke, who will earn $200,000. So $200,000 of that deal is marketing money in BC, which is nuts to me. I would like to see this addressed with the next CBA, I will say. With the Grey Cup set to be played in Winnipeg for the first time in a decade, many local fans were hoping the team would throw the salary cap out the window and spend like drunken sailors. For better or worse, that didn't happen. Had the team done so, it seems likely that Kenny Lawler, Liam Dobson, Terrell Ford would still be wearing the blue and gold. Okay. Terrell Ford, no, because Edmonton spent $2.2 million and he also wanted to play with his brother. So I don't think they could have kept Terrell Ford if they wanted to. Kenny Lawler, maybe a different story again, but Hamilton's paying him like $300,000. Liam Dobson,
$275,000.
That one kind of stinks. The offensive line, I really like Liam Dobson, Dobbenheimer, as I called him on the offensive line. I absolutely loved him. He was great, but I also like Kendall Randolph, so I'm excited to see him get a bit of a better opportunity, which means that then it wasn't Eli that would go in. Randolph, I guess, in kind of when they were having that, they had that game where Stanley Bryant went down, and then I think Neufeld went down the same game. Then Vanderpool, Wallace, Eli, Randolph all kind of cycled through, and I guess Randolph to them was the most impressive. He gets that spot, and then Eli, Wallace, and Vanderpool are still your backups, and then Garcia and Walker are still there. But I think you're looking more at probably Wallace or Vanderpool or Eli in terms of who would be the next guy up. Brady Oliveira remains the best running back in the CFL, while the depth behind Zach Collaros is arguably improved with the addition. It's not really arguably. I don't think it's arguable at all. I think it has improved. In terms
2 of those quarterbacks will get cut. It's just a matter of which 2.
What was that, sorry?
I said 2 of those quarterbacks will get cut. It's just a matter of which 2.
Also known as, I think realistically, it's Doe Lagala and Terry Wilson. I think that's probably what they do.
So,
because they're not moving Stravler, they're not moving Collaros. So I think you do Stravler, Collaros, Patterson. I think that's your 3.
So
and then Stravler, you have him only do short yardage, but your actual defined backup is Shea Patterson. Now you may not be able to dress all 3 quarterbacks in the game. So if Collaros goes down in the game, Stravler might have to finish that game. But I'm talking if Collaros isn't able to start, Patterson's in the starting role. In my eyes.
What I was going to say was between Patterson, Wilson, and Dolagala, one of your guys' preseason games, each one of those quarterbacks is going to get a quarter to prove this, that, and the other.
Yeah, no, that's true. I just hope Collaros gets a little bit of time in the preseason. I think that, like, not crazy. I'm not saying go out there and have him play like the full game and get him injured, but like he's got to do something because last year we tried not playing him at all and it didn't go so well. And we got off to a rough start. One could argue that Winnipeg's defensive line and linebacking core has improved from last year, depending on how well Vaughters and Jones fits into Jordan Younger's system. The secondary will miss Terrell Ford at the field side cornerback, though the team still seems high on Jamal Parker after he missed all of last season due to injury. I understand that. I actually quite like Jamal Parker, so I think there's not saying he's going to be the next Terrell Ford. And then I still really like Evan Holm. I thought last year he'd have that breakout year after he had real shines of that the season prior. I really hope that Evan Holm steps into a bit of a bigger role. But I have high hopes for my Bombers. I think there's a lot of potential here. I hope to see Lawson get to play a little bit on the defensive line with Jake Thomas and whatnot at that D tackle spot. But Jamal Woods, he'll be the starter there. And then I'm really curious to see how well Vaughters does as the bookends with Willie Jefferson. So not too many moves in Winnipeg, which is pretty on brand from them. A lot of build within from within is Winnipeg's kind of motto, and a lot of really, really economical contracts. Bombers, again, very, very profitable team. They're always looking at the business side of things, and I can understand how a lot of Bomber fans, and I say this as a Bomber fan myself, maybe kind of like, well, the Grey Cup's here this year. Like, are we not doing more than this? At the same time, they made the Grey Cup final the past 5 years in a row with the strategy they have. So I understand the notion, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Again, I still hear everyone talking about how they've lost 3 in a row. But again, they've made it to 5 in a row. They've gotten to the game. Also, so you got to get to the game first.
Also, is Mr. Hogan your defense or your new offensive coordinator? Is he gonna
sounds like it.
Is he going to allow Brady Oliveira to run the ball in the playoffs?
I fucking hope so. He was MOP of the goddamn league, not even just running backs. Believe it or not, hot take. I have a hot take. My hot take is that if you have the best player in the effing league, you should play the best player in the effing league. If you have the best player, use him. Simple. I don't think that should be a hot take. So, I always get excited about that. But Rick, have your Ticats revealed anything?
So Montreal, Ottawa, and Hamilton have not.
I'm searching up Hamilton's right now just in case.
Oh, I've already done that, and I didn't see anything. The only other East team that has is Toronto.
I see. So then, the only thing... Yeah.
So
all I see here
while you pull that up, I'm just going to mention a few things.
Yeah.
So coming up, you have March 20th, which is in 2 weeks. You're going to have a GM head coach joint media availabilities for the CFL Combine. CFL Combine is March 21st to the 23rd. Do check out CFL's YouTube page because they're going to have a lot of stuff on there. Then a month later, on April 29th, there will be the CFL draft. Both the CFL draft at 8 o'clock, Global draft at 11. And then on May 7th, the rookie camps open. And then 3 days later, they have to cut down to 85 players.
Yeah.
Excluding non-contenders. And then 1 day later, official training camp begins on May 11th.
Okay.
So we got a little bit over 2 months to go.
Now, we should get on. So, firstly, is there anything you want to cover, Ticats? I'm talking anything, not even just free agent signings, anything.
So we have, doing my digging, So first off, Julian Hauser is back with us after his long spurt or his few years with Calgary. And why I bring that up? Because Brent Monson used to be the Calgary defensive coordinator. Then, I don't know why Hamilton's taking bloody freaking forever. They still haven't announced their coaching staff. Keep in mind, between listening to press conferences and among other things on social media, I found out that Dennis McKnight will be back as their special teams coordinator. Casey Crehan, who was our defensive coordinator back in 2012, was one horrible season for defense in 2012. He is going to be our defensive line coach. And then Brendan Walsh, who is down from the States, he'll be our offensive line coach. And then also down from the States will be Eli Sabdeweiss, and he'll be our linebacker coach. So we only need quarterback coach, receiver coach, running back coach, and DB coach.
Yeah.
And Toronto has yet to announce a defensive coordinator.
But now we should probably get to the Argos, right? Because that was pretty much all there was for Hamilton.
There wasn't nothing really.
So we do have a report on what the Argos had paid each of their free agent signings. They lost a lot this year. They lost Serezna, Jake Serezna, to Sean Amos, obviously to Hamilton. Jared Brinkman, Royce Mechie, Robbie Smith, Fraser Sopik, Dijon, and then Dijon Allen, as well as Omerlad, were both traded away. So a lot of talent leaving the Six. It wasn't all bad for the Double Blue, however, as the club signed some of its key players to contract extensions, including Grey Cup MVP Nick Arbuckle. That is a sentence I said. Yep, still finding ways to cope with that. All East Division running back star Kadeem Carey, believe it or not, wasn't going back to Calgary after talking a lot of shit about Calgary. Star receiver DeMonte Coxey, elite linebacker backer Winton McManus, and award-winning returner Mr. Janarian Grant. Now, if we look at some of their other additions, defensive end Brian Cox Jr., who made headlines for flipping the bird at fans in Winnipeg after losing the West Final, collected a $20,000 signing bonus to join the Argos as part of a deal worth $120,000 in hard money. 30-year-old native of St. Louis made 24 defensive tackles, 6 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles with the Rough Riders last season. Anthony Lanier II, who's once the league's highest-paid defensive player, will only earn $110,000 in hard money this year after finishing last season as a healthy scratch with Saskatchewan. 6'5", 285-pound defender also has $21,000 in incentives available and will make an additional $500 each time he records a sack. Darius Bratton got $15,000 signing bonus to come over from the Elks as part of a deal that will pay him $105,000 hard money. After manning the boundary halfback spot in Edmonton last year, it seems likely that the 27-year-old will flip over to fieldside halfback to replace Deshaun Amos, who left for the Ticats in free agency. Bombers defensive end Celestin Haba made $10,000 signing bonus to join the Argos after spending 2 seasons with the Bombers, mostly in a depth role. This is true. Bombers had tried him as a bit of the bookends with Jefferson. Didn't fully work out. They tried Garbutt in that role, but then obviously Haba and Garbutt were both gone then. But Haba was able to have some success in that role. Just kind of wasn't really that consistent. He'll earn $100,000 in hard money this year, plus an additional $10,000 in playtime incentives. So good on him. Canadian receiver Hergy Mayala, who had done really, really well in Edmonton last year. American defensive lineman DeMarcus Christmas and American defensive backs Deontay Evans and Will Sunderland will each earn between $80,000 and $90,000 in hard money, plus possible incentives. Especially if you're Hergy Mayala, this is hopefully a prove-it deal and looking for future cash in subsequent seasons. All 4 could potentially be in Toronto's starting lineup. though they could each be considered depth options. Should also be noted that Canadian linebacker Cameron Judge, who was acquired from the Calgary in the Ormelad trade, signed an extension through to 2026. So 2-year extension with him. $50K signing bonus and is worth $197,000 in hard money and a maximum potential value of $202,000. And so we do have.
So just to point something out here,
yeah,
Carter, is if you look at the receiver Z spot behind David Unger is Richie Sandini, and he announced the other day that he's taken this year off.
Okay, so we ignore
from the CFL. That. Yes. So they don't have. I mean, you have Brissett, you have Matal, you have Mayala, Unger, Cote, and Daniels.
Yeah, besides Coxie and Daniels, I'm a little concerned here for Toronto in the sense of that Mayala did well in his role in Edmonton, but kind of when you give a receiver like that a bigger role, you're kind of putting him in a bit of a sink or swim situation. I'm not exactly
interesting thing that I see is that they have Kevin Brown as third running back behind McMahon.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah. Overall, though, Toronto loses a lot here. Realistically, is Derek Parrish the only one in that defensive line that they were able to keep?
Jordan Williams,
for
is
starting,
back from last year.
Okay.
Hansen, former Bomber, was starter last year. Hergot, the third one down under Parrish, was a starter last year. The A. Carter person under Lanier, he came over from the Daniel Adnaboye trade. I'm just trying to think. Judge and Farga came over in trades. McManus, starter middle linebacker, was there. Moje, Sam linebacker, was there. 4 out of 5 starting secondary people were with the team last year. But it's just going to be... Well, first off, they have to announce a defensive coordinator first.
Yeah.
Then it'll be interesting to see how well this team gels.
So I think that's pretty much all we got for Toronto. And then you said that Ottawa and
Montreal have not
released.
So it's just Hamilton, Montreal, and Ottawa.
So if we're talking Ottawa, is there any news? Ottawa Red Blacks? I haven't heard anything, but
I haven't seen no article yet.
Okay. Any news? Montreal Alouettes?
No.
Besides that
article yet.
Besides that coach, that offensive lineman coaching running back.
You know what? Let me go see. See what I can dig up. I will say though, this is CFL draft news.
Okay.
Is where did I see it? There was 2 prospects that were actually going to be in the draft, but they ended up getting arrested.
What did you say, sorry?
For
can you repeat that?
Yeah, so I'm just trying to look for the article. So there is 2 prospects that were going to 2 Regina Rams prospects that were going to the draft. Oh, here we go. I'm going to send you the article so that you can
Charged with fentanyl possession and intent to distribute. Oh.
Yeah. 9 combined charges.
That certainly sounds less than ideal.
But yeah, that's 2 players that were supposed to be drafted this year. Now won't be able to get drafted.
Well, we will have to see how the draft goes then.
Also, David Mackey, former BC Lion, has been named the new executive director.
Yep.
Of the CFL PA.
Oh yeah. And we're still awaiting a successor as commissioner.
Yep. No commissioner yet.
To Mr. Randy Ambrosi. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much all. Is there anything else you got?
Nope. I'm still waiting for my Ticat news to come out.
Well,
which hopefully will be within the next few days.
And so, and then when all that comes out in future update videos, we will discuss that. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys leave a like if you have not already and subscribe as well. If you guys are listening to this on Spotify, make sure you guys give us 5 stars. We would very, very much appreciate it. And so without further ado, we'll see you guys next time.